This is good. Okay. This is going to be how to get rid of your negative thoughts. So, for context, this is not going to get rid of every single negative thought for the rest of your life ever, you know? If you never have a single negative thought after watching this video, then that's probably because you've ascended to some sort of like Christ-like level of consciousness. That's not really what this video is about. But I mean, if you get there, like, good for you. But basically, it's not like you're never gonna have a negative thought ever again. I need to make that clear. But it is about being in a more positive state of mind. It's about like if every single one of your thoughts is negative, just how to shift you into every single one of your thoughts being like neutral, positive, you know, like having like a positive experience of life. Because, dude, it's so crucial. I mean, it's life, and it's like you're alive. So it's like if your thoughts dictate like how you feel about reality, then your thoughts need to be in a good place. And that way it's like how should I put this? That way you're in a good place, you know? So for background on myself, I've been down this rabbit hole many times. I just recently came out of a situation where every single day I was having negative thoughts, like every single day. And it was like a constant battle in my head where I would have to catch almost every single thought and be like, no, this is not me. And like, you know, I had to like pull myself out of that, and I'll kind of explain what happened. Basically, I was in a workplace situation with an individual that, you know, was getting to me. And in your life, this could be anybody. This could be like a parent. This could be a friend that you should have maybe cut out a long fucking time ago. And like, for some reason, you're still like chilling with them. I don't know. Like, I don't know your life. I'm telling you what it is for me, which is I had a person I was working with that was getting to me. It was very negative. I was living with this person, and I was like living with this person, working with this person. So I was basically like, you can imagine, I was like spending almost every like minute of every day with this individual, you know? Like my only like semblance of freedom was like after work, I would V-line to Starbucks and like work on my computer, like do things on my computer. And like that is when I could feel like the negativity fall away. So what does that tell you right there? That tells you that sometimes the negativity is not even your own. It's a product of your environment, you know? So if you're in a negative environment, it's very, very difficult to not have negative thoughts, you know? So it's gonna be how to deal with them, and then how to get to a space where you just don't have them anymore. So what ended up happening with this individual was I basically moved out and I quit my job. And you know, funny how that works, that right after that I started getting like better thoughts, you know? It wasn't like 100% fixed, because it's like once you get into this routine of like thinking negatively, then that kind of becomes like routine. And so you have to gain the awareness that these negative thoughts are a routine, and then break them, you know? Because like they are a routine, and your brain likes the negative thoughts. Like if your brain didn't like the negative thoughts, then it wouldn't have them. So your brain likes having these thoughts because they spark a reaction out of you. Basically, when you have these thoughts, you engage with them, and that's what fuels them, is like you engaging with them. So like you have a negative thought, let's say like, oh, I hate my boss. And then you're like, yeah, you know what? I do hate my boss. Like, he's fat and he's ugly, and like he talked to me really mean, and I don't like him, you know? And like you fueled that thought. And so your brain is like, okay, we have this thought. It brings out all of this energy within us. So we have to keep popping up this thought. We have to keep like pumping it. And so your brain keeps going. Your brain is like, hey, remember how much you don't like your boss? Yeah, I don't like him. Your brain just keeps hitting you with the same thought. but like you keep engaging with it, and so it keeps hitting you with it, you know. I quit my job and I cut this individual out of my life, stop living with this person, and I had to recognize that I was like in these patterns of thought that are like negative, and then break out of them, you know. And the best way to break out of them is, so as we just said, when you engage with these negative thoughts, they keep going. You fuel them, actually, you know. If you ignore them, what'll happen is like your brain, at least for my brain, this is what would happen, is like after a couple times, your brain is like, hey, I know you're trying to ignore me. Don't ignore this. Like, come on, don't you hate your boss? Like that's the example thought. I didn't actually hit my boss. But yeah, it'll be like that. It'll be like, hey, like I know you're ignoring this, but don't ignore it. Like, this is important. Look, you hate your boss so much. And so, like, for me, ignoring it didn't work. And it never worked for me. You know, even as a child, when I'd have like intrusive thoughts, it would just never work out. Like, trying to ignore my thoughts would never really work out. But I did find a solution that worked way better than ignoring. And what that is, it's gonna sound a little hippie, it's gonna sound a little woo-woo, so you might not like my answer if you're not a person that's inclinated towards those sorts of things. But what worked best for me was to literally just say, I love you. Like, I love you. Thank you. Like, you get a negative thought and you reply with positivity. And you might think, doesn't that encourage the thought even more? And it really doesn't. And I'll explain why. It's because your brain, like, that's not the reaction it wants out of you. If you just say, okay, I love you, then it's like, what? Like, that's not the reaction I want. Like, you're not really giving that much energy there. You're just like, yeah, I love you, you know? Like, oh, I hate your boss. Like, you hate your boss. Yeah, I love you. And I took this one step further, which is, this looks way better with the lights turned off. But yeah, I took this one step further, which is basically every time I had a negative thought, I said this in this order. I said, I love you. Thank you. I know your purpose is to blank. I release you in love because I don't need you anymore, you know? So let's say, for example, my negative thought was, oh my gosh, I just like hate this person that I'm working with. You know, let's say that was like a blurt that was in my thoughts, in my headspace. What I would reply would be, I love you. Thank you. I know your purpose is to protect me from this individual. And it's for me to see the negative intentions this individual may have. I release you now because we are safe and I don't need you, you know? I would say that in that order. I'll put it somewhere on the screen to make it like legible, or I'll like put it in the description or something. But that is legitimately the best like prescription that I have found to eliminate negative thoughts, is literally give them love. Because I mean, I don't know, you may think it's cringe. I really don't, but you may think that like this is woo-woo, this is nonsense. But at the end of the day, giving love is the cure, you know? Like, love really does cure it all. Like, it cures this, you know? And it's repetitive, it's annoying, you know? It's not, I mean, it's easy in the sense that it works. Like, the thought will go away. But it's not like you say that and like that's it, like you're cured. It's like you're gonna have other thoughts pop up that you're gonna have to deal with, you know. And then that gets into like a whole topic of emotional maturity, dealing with traumas, so on and so forth, you know. But it really comes first and foremost from a willingness. And if you're watching this video, you are willing. Like you are willing to change. I mean, you stumbled upon this video because you have negative thoughts that you don't want to be thinking anymore. And so there is a willingness for you to change, which is good. That's great. I'm happy for you. But it's just like it's not easy. Like you're gonna have like so many thoughts, like you think 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts every single day. So if the majority of them are bad, then that's like 60,000 to 80,000 like uh thoughts that you have to catch and like not let them like fucking ferment, not let them like germinate, not let them spread. Because think of a bad thought as like shit. Okay, when you're born, you're not like a shit baby, you're like a normal baby, you're a good baby. It's these other people that are around you, maybe your parents, maybe like an aunt or uncle, that start throwing shit at you. They start throwing shit upon your little baby brain, and then you think like, why? Then you start thinking like the same shit that they're thinking, and then it's like you start thinking the same shit they're thinking, and it's like you gotta recognize what shit is not yours. You gotta recognize like what's yours and what's not. That's really key, because yeah, like a lot of shit isn't yours, like straight up. A lot of beliefs that you have are not like, one, they're not real. They're like delusions. Like they're like shit you made up in your head. A lot of beliefs are not real. Like if you think, I don't even know like a good belief. If you think like, oh, you have to be poor because your whole family's poor and your whole family has always been poor, so you guys have to be poor. No, that's a belief. That's some shit that people threw upon your little baby brain that like eventually like it got loose and started spreading, and then it spread all over, and then now you're like an adult that's like, wait a minute, and now I'm stuck with all these thoughts that I don't want. Let me like try to reverse this. How can I reverse this? And basically like that's one part of it. It's like, one, like catching the thoughts, giving them love, but then also like seeing where that like trail of shit leads you, because there is a trail of shit, and it is going to lead you somewhere. You just have to be willing to go down the trail. And the thing is, it's not easy. It's not. It's like, let's say you have like a lot of childhood trauma, and in your childhood you experienced a lot of pain, and with that pain you now have certain beliefs, certain identities, certain thoughts that don't resonate with who you are anymore. Then what do you have to do? You like all that stuff got imprinted into you because of pain. So you have to go through that pain again to release it. But you have to go through it with the intention of releasing it, and it's hard, man. It's hard, especially like depending on like the severity of what happened to you, or what went on. That's hard. I'm not gonna say it's not. That's why like a lot of people end up being just like their parents. That's why a lot of people end up just being exactly like their dad or exactly like their mom, is because they never went through like this phase of going down the trail of shit and being like, where does this all go? I don't want this shit. Where does this all go? And like a lot of people don't go through that. A lot of people are scared to go through that, and because they're scared, they end up being like people they don't want to be. They end up being just like their parents. They end up taking on traits they didn't want to have. They end up doing stuff to their kids they didn't want to do. And it is what it is. You can't control what your parents did. You can't. What you can control is what you do. What you can control is the experience you give to your kids. So anyway, here's my 3-step process. Number 1, catch the thought. Don't let it germinate. Don't let it spread. Don't let it do its little nasty little thought things. Don't let it do that, okay? Because thoughts can be nasty, so you gotta catch them. And so if you catch them, then they stop, okay? So 1, you see a little nasty little thought running around, you catch it. Then what do you say? You should know this. You say, I love you. I know your purpose here. Because that's the thing. Your thoughts have purpose. And if you're having negative thoughts, they have a purpose. Most of the time, that purpose depends on like your traumas. So if you, I'm not gonna get into like what your traumas mean or anything, but basically, some of your thoughts may be like there to protect you. Your thoughts may be there to like demonstrate your worth to people. Your thoughts may be there for a variety of purposes, you know. Most of the time, for me, it's to protect me. And so I say, I love you. Thank you. I know you're here to protect me. I know your purpose is to protect me. But I am safe. And so I let you go. In love, I let you go. Lovingly. You know, you got to do it lovingly. Because that's like the whole point, is to be loving. So, yeah. Then after that, you see the other thoughts. You see the other thoughts. You do the same thing. Maybe not like every single time. Maybe that can get exhausting. Maybe you can just say, I love you. I love you and I let you go. That also works. But yeah, go down the trail of shit. Something that will help with this is meditation. Because in meditation, you're literally like sitting down and just like existing. And so when your thoughts come up, you're a lot more aware of them because you're literally just not doing anything else. So yeah, when you're meditating, it's a lot easier to be aware of your thoughts, you know, as they come up. And so that can be a helpful practice to help you go down that trail of shit, see where these thoughts originate, and then put a stop to them. And I understand this is not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. If you like this video, I made another video about how to get out of survival mode. That might prove very helpful to you, especially if you're watching this type of content. Yeah, hope you're having a great day. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye-bye.